Pronunciation is a 2018 Indian Hindi language historical action drama film directed by Abhishek Sharma and jointly written by Saivan Quadris, Sanyukta Chawla Sheikh and Sharma. It was produced by G Studios and JA Entertainment banners. The film is based on the nuclear bomb test explosions conducted by the Indian Army at Pokhran in 1998. It stars John Abraham, Diana Penty, and Boman Irani in lead roles. Parmanu was earlier slated to release on 8 December 2017 but was postponed to avoid clashing with Padmavat 2018. It was further delayed owing to conflicts between the producers of the film, Abraham and Creers Entertainment. It was eventually released on 25 May 2018. Plot: in 1995, Ashwath Raina, an IAS officer from the Research and Analysis Wing, suggests the ministers to perform a retaliatory nuclear test in response to the recent nuclear missile test by China. However, he is ridiculed and the PMO Secretary Suresh Yadav tells him to keep the file of his plan brief. Ashwath submits the file along with a floppy containing the details, but Yadav submits a half-baked plan to the Prime Minister and ignores the floppy. The test is hastily conducted without Ashwath's involvement, who becomes the scapegoat when an American lacrosse satellite photographs the test preparation and the United States warn India not to continue with the test. Ashwath loses his job and 3 years later in 1998, when a new Prime Minister is sworn in, he is approached by the new PMO Secretary, Himanshu Shukla, who questions the failure of the test. Ashwath explains the most integral part of the mission was to keep it confidential, but it couldn't happen since no one viewed the floppy. Himanshu gives Ashwath a second chance to conduct the test, for which he starts preparing a team, selecting 5 members from the BARC, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, DRDO Defense Research and Development Organization, Indian Army, ISA, Indian Space Agency and IB Intelligence Bureau. Ashwath leads the team to Pokhran for the test setup. As the activities begin, 2 locals, spies of the CIA and ISI are alerted and they bug Ashwath's guest house to get the information on the nuclear test. Ashwath and the team manage to prepare the setup for the test while distracting the lacrosse satellite. When the material are arranged, Himanshu tells Ashwath to stop the test due to the political climate. Ashwath nevertheless convinces him to greenlit the test and distract media attention from the Pokhran. This gives Ashwath and team time as they now struggle to complete the test within a shorter deadline. One day when a sandstorm exposes the setup, Ashwath and other officers rush to cover it before being spotted by the satellite. They manage to run to the bunker before being spotted, but the spies learnt of the test when they view satellite-clipped photographs of Ashwath's vehicle parked badly. They try to convince the CIA about the test, but they don't believe them. The ISI agent calls Ashwath's wife and tells him he is in Pokhran with a woman, after which she arrives at the guest house and mistakenly believes Ashwath to having an affair with his teammate Ambalika. Ashwath tries to defend himself, but she leaves, following which Ambalika learns of this and believes it to be a setup. On the day of the test, the ISI agent breaks into the guest house to retrieve Ashwath's cell phone containing codes for the blind spot at the test site. He fights off Ashwath and runs away taking the phone. A chase ensues, leaving Ashwath trapped in a police station when he mistakenly fires a bullet from the agent's gun. Ambalika arrives and frees him, and Himanshu proceeds to meet the Prime Minister and explain him the plan. As Ashwath arrives at the test site, Ambalika and other officers capture the agents. Himanshu manages to get an encrypted permission from the Prime Minister to proceed with the test. The CIA now has the evidence sent by the spies, but the explosion takes place before they can take any action. The test is successfully conducted. Ashwat reconciles with his wife and India is established as a nuclear state. Cast John Abraham as IAS Ashwat Rana as Krishna, Diana Penty as Captain Ambalika Bandyopadhyay, Nakul Boman Irani as Himanshu Shukla, Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, Aditya Hitkari as Dr. Viraf Padia Yudhishthir, Vikas Kumar as Major Prem Singh Bhim, Yogendra Tikku as Dr. Sanish Sinha Arjun, Ajay Shankar as Puru Ranganathan Sahdev, Anuj Sathi as Sushma Rana, Ashwat's wife, Darshan Pandey as Pakistani spy, Johnny Lever as Abhijit cameo appearance, Jachri Coffin as Stephen, Mark Bennington as Daniel, Satyendra Singh Gehlot as Suresh Yadav, former Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, Praveen Deshpande as Ashwat's mother-in-law, Atal Bihari Vajpayee as the Prime Minister are chief footage. Production Parmanu was officially announced on 15 April 2017 by Taran Adar's Twitter handle. John Abraham was approached by Prime Minister producers Prerna Arora and Arjun N. Kapoor with the script, which was further developed after Mimi Chakrabarti had turned down. Diana Penty grabbed the final female lead. Parmanu was shot in Delhi and Mumbai, with major portions being shot in Pokhran and areas of Pokhran Fort, Ada Bazaar, Gandhi Chowk, Main Market and the Gomat railway station. The principal photography of the film began on 31st May 2017 and the shoot was completed in August. About the film, Abraham said, Parmanu is an ode to the army and scientists who, although ordinary people, truly accomplished extraordinary feats in the face of adversity to ensure that India finds its due place on the world nuclear map. Marketing and release. The first look of the film was revealed by Abraham through his Twitter handle on 22 June 2017. It showed his face merged with the map of Pokhran. The second poster of the film was released on 14 August 2017, which showed Abraham running with jeeps, bunkers in the background. Two posters of the film showing John and Diana in army uniform were released on 3rd November 2017. Teaser of this film was released on April 5, 2018. The trailer was released on 11 May 2018. Earlier scheduled to release in 8 December 2017. The film released on 25th May 2018 across 1935 screens. The music of the film is composed by Sachin Jigar and Geet Ganguly with lyrics were penned by Vayu, Rashmi Viraj, Sachin Sangvi and Kumar Vishwas. The songs featured in the film are sung by Arijit Singh, Divya Kumar, Yasir Desai, Kirti Sagathia and Jyotika Tangri. The first song of the film, titled as Shubh Din, which is sung by Sagathia and Tangri, was released on 14 May 2018. The album was released by G Music Company on 15 May 2018. Vipin Nayyar of The Hindu gave the soundtrack 2.5 out of 5, stating that the soundtrack is a middling start to the year for the composer duo. Critical response. Parmanu received mainly positive reviews from film critics. Bollywood Hungama rated the film 3.5 out of 5 and predicted its financial success. The Times of India rated it 3.5 out of 5 and wrote, what Parmanu lacks in detail and authenticity, it makes up with emotions and a sense of national pride. The narrative is not explosive, but it doesn't have the dramatic moments to keep the viewer engaged. Thrills, suspense, drama, a little bit of humor as well as solid comment on India's soldiers. This movie largely has all the tricks to please even a discerning audience. Rohit Watts from Hindustan Times rated the film 3 out of 5 and wrote, actually the best moments of Parmanu arrive towards the end, just when they are needed. A film that was slowly progressing towards a definite end in the first half starts to gather steam 20 minutes into the second half. The film was criticized by some reviewers. Srishti Negi of News 18 criticized over-dramatization and twisting of facts, rating it 2 out of 5. The opening sequence was also criticized, being called too shaky. Kenneth Rosario of The Hindu felt the film was simplistic and had all the ingredients to be a propaganda film. Shubhra Gupta of the Indian Express criticized the film for its lack of details and use of historical facts, calling it all surface, no depth, and gave it 1.5 stars. Deccan Chronicle also gave it 1.5 stars out of 5 in its review by Arnab Banerjee, saying that the seriousness of the film did not come across as it looked like a picnic with a little bit of work thrown in here and there. John Abraham, born 17 December 1972, is an Indian film actor, film producer, and former model who appears in Hindi films after modeling for numerous advertisements and companies. He made his film debut with Jism 2003, which earned him the Filmfare Best Debut Award nomination. This was followed by his first commercial success, Dhoom 2004. He received 2 Filmfare Award nominations for his negative roles in Dhoom and in Zinda 2006. He later appeared in the major critical success Water 2005. He was nominated for a Filmfare Award for Best Supporting Actor for the film Babu 2006. Since then, Abraham has starred in many critically and commercially successful films, including Garam Masala 2005, Taxi Number 911 2006, Dostana 2008, New York 2009, Houseful 2 2012, Race 2 2013, Shootout at Wadala, Madras Cafe, Welcome Back, Drishyam Parmanu, Satyamev Jayate and Batla House, thus establishing himself as a commercially successful actor of Hindi cinema. In 2012, Abraham produced his first film, Vicky Donor, which was a critical and commercial success and earned him a National Film Award for Best Popular Film, providing wholesome entertainment. He then established his own production house, John Abraham Entertainment. His second film as a producer was Madras Cafe, which garnered critical acclaim beyond his acting career. He is the owner of the Indian Super League football team, North East United FC. He has often performed many dangerous stunts in his films. He is also a vegetarian and is a strong advocate for animal rights. Early life. Abraham was born on 17 December 1972 into a family of mixed religious and ethnic heritage. His father is a Malayali Mathomite Syrian Christian from Aluva, Kochi, Kerala, and his mother is an Irani with roots in Gujarat. Abraham's Zoroastrian name is Farhan, but he was baptized with the name John. He has a younger brother named Alan Abraham. He considers himself a spiritual person, but does not follow any particular religion. Abraham grew up in Mumbai and studied at the Market Bombay Scottish School in Mahim, Mumbai. He attended Jai Hind College, University of Mumbai, and then got an MBA from Mumbai Educational Trust. Better source needed. His cousin Susie Matthew is an author and has written novels like In a Bubble of Time. Career modeling. Abraham started his modeling career appearing in the music video of the song Surma by Punjabi singer Jazzy B. He then joined the media firm and Time and Space Media Entertainment Promotions Limited, which however got closed because of financial crisis. Later he worked for enterprises Nexus as a media planner. In 1999 he won the Gladwell's Manhunt contest and went to the Philippines for Manhunt International, where he won second place. He later modeled in Hong Kong, London and New York City and appeared in a number of commercial advertisements and other music videos for singers including Pankaj Udas, Hansraj Hans, and Babul Supriyo. To improve his acting skills, Abraham joined Kishore Namit Kapoor Acting Institute and completed an acting course while juggling modeling assignments. Debut and struggle. John Abraham smiles away the camera. Abraham in 2006 considered the top model of India before he ventured into films. Abraham made his acting debut with Jism in 2003, an erotic thriller film which according to Box Office India was hit grossing 1 crore 32 lakh 50,000 rupees. He portrayed the role of Kabir Lal, a poor alcoholic and wayward lawyer who falls in love with Sonia Khanna, played by Bipasha Basu, a wife of a traveling millionaire who plots to kill her own husband with the company of Kabir. The film met with mixed to positive reviews. Taran Adarsh of Bollywood Hungama commented, "Supermodel John Abraham makes a confident debut. The actor rises beyond his looks and registers a strong impact with his performance. More so towards the second half, his dashing looks and excellent physique only add to his persona." In the same year, Abraham appeared in Anurag Bashu's horror paranormal romance film Saya alongside Tara Sharma and Mahima Chaudhary. The film garnered mixed to negative reviews and underperformed at the box office. Taran Adarsh wrote, "Saya clearly belongs to John. No two opinions on that. In acting a very difficult role, the newcomer actually performs like a veteran and delivers a performance that's bound to win him nominations in the award categories. His growth as an actor is tremendous. In 2003, he appeared in Pooja Bhatt's directorial debut film Paap alongside Udit Goswami. He portrayed the role of Shivain, a police officer who falls for a Buddhist girl Kaya. The film underperformed at the box office, receiving mixed reviews, and also was premiered at the Kara Film Festival. That same year, he appeared in Ahmad Khan's film Lakeer, Forbidden Lines, co-starring Nohit Sairuzi with other stars such as Sunny Deol, Sunil Shetty, and Sohail Khan, which also underperformed at the box office. Recognition and success. In 2004, Abraham played Kabir, the main antagonist in Dhoom, an action film directed by Sanjay Gadvi and produced by Yash Raj Films, multi-starring Abhishek Bachchan, Isha Deol, Uday Chopra, and Rinmi Singh. The film was the third highest grossing film of the year, which gained him a Filmfare Award for Best Performance in a Negative Role nomination. Abraham with Deepika Padukone during Desi Boys Promotions 2011. In 2005, he starred in the action thrillers Alan and Karam, both of which failed at the box office. He followed with the supernatural thriller Kaal and the comedy Garam Masala, both of which did well at the box office. Later that year, he had a role in Water, which portrayed the tragic fate of Hindu widows in British India of the 1930s. The film was written and directed by independent Canadian filmmaker Deepa Mehta. It was popular internationally and was nominated for the 2006 Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film at the 79th Academy Awards. Abraham attended the ceremony along with the film's crew and makers, but the film lost to Germany's The Lives of Others. In the summer of 2006, Abraham performed at the Rockstars concert along with fellow Bollywood actors Salman Khan, Jayed Khan, Kareena Kapoor, Isha Deol, Shahid Kapoor, and Mallika Sherawat. In that same year, he starred in the films Zinda, Taxi Number 911, Babul, and Kabul Express. Among these, Taxi Number 911 and Kabul Express were substantially successful. Abraham's performance in Taxi Number 911 was praised by critics, noting that his performance is to be maturing with each new film. Nikhil Advani's multi-starrer Salame Ishq, a tribute to love, was Abraham's first release in 2007. The movie failed to do well at the Indian box office, though it did well in the overseas markets. His last two 2007 releases included the thriller No Smoking. His next release was the sports film Dhandanadan Dhol, in which he sported a new look. The song Romana with the ex-girlfriend Bipasha Basu was a hit song of that year. Citation needed. In 2008, Abraham starred alongside Abhishek Bachchan and Priyanka Chopra in Dostana, his only release that year. His first release of 2009 was a production by Yash Raj Films, New York. Varun Dhawan, Jacqueline and Abraham during Drishyam promotions in 2016. He has a fashion line branded JA Clothes which primarily features his favorite article of clothing, jeans. In 2010, he was seen in the films Aashaएं and Jhoota Hi Sahi. Both of the films turned out to be box office failures. Lately, Abraham has appeared in the films Force 2011, Desi Boys 2011 and Houseful 2 2012. His first film of 2013 was the multi-starrer Race 2, which was commercially successful, though his second release, the coming-of-age romantic comedy Aai Me Aur Main, underperformed at the box office. His next release was Shootout at Wadala, in which he portrayed the role of gangster Manya Sarve, which gained positive reviews. The film emerged as a success at the box office. Then his movie Madras Cafe, which also is a second movie for him as a producer, garnered much critical acclaim. Also, the collections of the movie saw an upward trend after terrific word of mouth. His next release was Welcome Back, which was successful at the box office. In 2016, his first release was Rocky Handsome, which didn't do well at the box office. Then his second release of the year was Drishyam. Despite mixed to negative reviews, the film was a commercial success and made over 100 crores. His next release of the year was Force 2, the sequel of the 2011 film Force. Force 2 became the highest opening film for Abraham and opened with mixed to positive reviews. Abraham's performance received praise from the audience of critics. His next films in 2018 were the action film Parmanu, the story of Pokhran with Diana Penty and Boman Irani, and Satyamev Jayate with Manoj Bajpayee and Neha Sharma's younger sister Aisha Sharma. In 2019, he starred in the action thrillers Romeo Akbar Walter and Batla House. Producer Abraham's debut as a producer was titled Vicky Donor 2012, and the film featured Ayushmann Khurrana, Annu Kapoor and Yami Gautam in lead roles. Abraham also appeared in an item number for the film. It opened to positive response and turned out to be a critical and commercial success. His second production, Madras Cafe, which is also directed by Sujit Sircar, opened to overwhelming response from the critics. Social causes shown Abraham smiles with other two men at the camera. Abraham with Rahul Bose medal at the press conference of Standard Chartered Mumbai Marathon in 2013. Abraham also takes an active interest in the United Way, based in Denver, United States in January 2009. He flagged off the Mumbai Marathon, an annual event organized to benefit the United Way. He did not run the marathon, but encouraged the participants by waving at them from the start line. Unusually for someone of his religious background, Abraham is a vegetarian. He is an animal lover and takes an interest in PETA and Habitat for Humanity. In April 2013, on behalf of PETA, Abraham wrote a letter to the Minister for Environment and Forest, Jayanti Natarajan, asking that she make all circuses in India animal-free. Abraham is also the celebrity supporter of UNHCR India and promotes the cause of refugees in India. According to his website, he donated Rs 10 lakh, about $15,000 to the Leelavati Hospital and Research Center, Mumbai. personal life. John and Priya walking towards the camera. Abraham with his wife Priya Runchal in 2012 during the filming of Jism in 2002. Abraham began to date his co-star Bipasha Basu. They were in a relationship until early 2011. While together, the two were often referred to as a super couple in the Indian media. Abraham once stated that I have always kept quiet about my personal life and will continue to maintain a dignified silence. It's just the way my parents raised me. I rather leave it at speculation. The couple broke up and Bipasha is now married to Bollywood actor Karan Singh Grover. Abraham is now married to Priya Runchal, an NRI financial analyst and investment banker from the US but native to McLeodganj, whom he met in Mumbai in December 2010. They married on 3rd January 2014 and had a celebration in Los Angeles. Diana Panti, pronounced, is an Indian model and actress who appears in Hindi films. She began her modeling career in 2005 when she was signed up by Elite Model India. Panti made her acting debut in 2012 with the romantic comedy film Cocktail. Her performance in the film garnered praise and earned her a nomination for Filmfare Award for Best Female Debut. Post-Cocktail, Panti played a free-spirited runway bride in the comedy film Happy Bhaag Jayegi. She garnered praise for her performance and the film went on to become a hit, grossing over ₹391 billion. She went on to feature in the prison film Lucknow Central 2017 and the action film Parmanu, the story of Pokhran 2018. Panti is also an active celebrity endorser for such brands as Tresemme and Nokia. Early life and education. Diana Panti was born on 2nd November 1985 in Mumbai, India to a Parsi father and a Konkani Christian mother. She attended St. Agnes High School in Mumbai and graduated with a bachelor's degree in mass media from St. Xavier's College. Career. Modeling career 2005 to 11. Panti walking the ramp for the Mijwan fashion show 2012. Panti began her modeling when she sent her photographs to Elite Models India, who liked her work and suggested she takes up modeling assignments. At this stage, she was in college and was reluctant to choose on a career in modeling, so Panti decided to work part-time as a fashion model. In 2005, Panti officially started working for Elite Models India and made her runway debut at the Indo-Italian Festival for Italian designers Nicola Trussardi and Gianfranco Ferre. Thereafter, Panti modeled for several other Indian designers, including Wendell Rodriguez, Rohit Bal, and Reena Dhaka. By 2007, she had established a successful modeling career after appearing in print campaigns for some of India's most prominent brands, including Sri Bhavandas, Bhimji Javeri, Parachute, and West Side, as well as featuring on the covers of a few Indian fashion magazines. The following year, Panti went on to model at the international circuit when she began to endorse global brands including Maybelline, Garnier, and Forever 21. On Panti's international appeal, the CEO of Elite Models India, Sushma Puri, commented, "Diana has a face that is very versatile and appeals to both Indian and international markets, and she is also young, beautiful, and confident. This makes her the ideal choice for any international brands." Later in her modeling career, Panti started to receive film careers offers suits she believed herself to be too inexperienced and rejected them to focus on modeling. From 2008 to 2010, Panti established herself internationally after modeling for fashion weeks in Paris and New York. Bollywood debut and breakthrough 2012 to present. Diana Panti at a promotional event for Cocktail 2012. Panti was originally slated to make her Bollywood debut in 2011 with Imtiaz Ali's rock star opposite Ranbir Kapoor, although she rejected the film due to her modeling commitments at the time and was Subsequently replaced by Nargis Fakhri, she later signed up for Homi Adajania's Cocktail instead at Ali's suggestion. Cast alongside Saif Ali Khan and Deepika Padukone, the film received mixed to positive reviews. Panty's portrayal of Meera, a simple Indian girl with traditional values, was well received by critics. Taran Adarsh of Bollywood Hangama commented that Diana, who makes her acting debut, gets to portray a rather difficult character for her debut film. There is a very disarming kind of innocence that she brings to the role, and she impresses a great deal. Raja Sen agreed, mentioning that she is refreshingly natural. Anupam Chopra added that Diana is saddled with the most colorless character but infuses her role with a quiet poise and holds her own. Her performance earned her nominations for Best Debut and Best Supporting Actress at numerous Indian award ceremonies, including International Indian Film Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Cocktail emerged as a box office hit. After a 4-year absence from the screen, Panty played the titular runaway bride in Anand L. Rai's production Happy Bhag Jayegi 2016. About the break from acting, Panty said it was not a conscious break. I was taking my time looking to be a part of an interesting story. I didn't want to do anything that came my way. The film earned mixed reviews from critics but was a sleeper hit. Rohit Bhatnagar wrote that Panty steals the spotlight in every frame, while Anna M.M. Vaticade of First Post said Panty is brimming with potential, but her happy, despite being the titular protagonist, is the most underwritten character. I was taking my time, looking to be a part of an interesting story. I didn't want to do anything that came my way. The film earned mixed reviews from critics but was a sleeper hit. Rohit Bhatnagar wrote that Panty steals the spotlight in every frame, while Anna M.M. Vaticade of First Post said Panty is brimming with potential but her happy, despite being the titular protagonist, is the most underwritten character. In 2017, Panty played a diligent NGO worker in Lucknow Central. In 2018, she appeared in Abhishek Sharma's Parmanu, the story of Pokhran, opposite John Abraham, and reprised her role in Happy Fir Bhag Jayegi alongside Sonakshi Sinha. In the media, in addition to modeling and acting, Panty is currently the Indian brand ambassador of Drishyam. Very recently, she has been signed by Estee Lauder India as their first ambassador. Nokia, in particular the Lumia 510 phone and Micromax mobile. Panty has also featured on several magazine covers, such as the July 2012 issue of Vogue, the October 2012 issue of LA, the January 2013 issue of Verve, the January-February 2013 issue of Women's Health India, the February 2013 issue of Grazia, the May 2013 issue of Femina, among others. Boman Irani is an Indian theatre and film actor, voice artist and photographer of Irani descent who works in Bollywood films. After making his film debut with the 2003 anthology horror film Darna Mana Hai, Irani had his first commercial success with the 2003 comedy Munna Bhai MBBS. He subsequently starred in several highly successful productions including Main Hoon Na 2004, Veer Jara, No Entry, Dawn, Hey Baby, Dostana, Houseful, Cocktail, Jolly LLB, Bhootnath Returns, Houseful 3 and Parmanu, The Story of Pokhran. Irani's highest grossing releases came with several films that rank among the highest grossing Indian film of all time, including Lage Raho Munna Bhai, Three Idiots, Dawn 2, Houseful 2, Happy New Year, PK, Dilwale, Sanju and Total Dhamal. His performance in Three Idiots won him the Filmfare Award for Best Supporting Actor. Early life. Irani was born on 2nd December 1959 in Bombay, now Mumbai, to an Irani Zoroastrian family. He finished his schooling in St. Mary's School, Mumbai. Irani was dyslexic and had ADHD and had a lisp. He overcame his lisp eventually. He undertook a 2-year waiter course at Mithibai College in Mumbai. After his polytechnic diploma course, he joined the Taj Mahal Palace and Tower and worked there as a waiter and in room service. He was promoted and finally worked as a waiter at the rooftop French restaurant Rendezvous. He worked at the Taj Mahal for 2 years. Career Photography career. While he was at school, he used to watch movies at the Alexander Cinema daily after school. His mother often encouraged him to watch the movies repeatedly to observe their cinematography and art. Irani's father died 6 months before Irani was born, but had a namkeen shop which his mother took over thereafter. Irani also worked at this shop on Grant Road till he was 32 years old. This ancestral bakery and namkeen shop was located in the Grant Road area of Mumbai between Novelty and Apsara cinemas, and was also where he first met his wife. While working at the Taj, using the tips that he received, Irani bought a camera and took sports pictures, school cricket and football matches, selling them for 20 to 30 rupees, which he continued till well after marriage. His epiphany came when he saved money for 7 years to take his family for their first ever vacation to Ooty, but they ended up in a desolate rundown hotel called Swam Palace. Irani decided to take control of his life, and instead of living the petty existence of a photographer selling small photos, he would started to dream and live big and provide more for his family. Irani calls it his zero number bulb moment. Irani continued to be a photographer, but now at the age of 32, went 6 months prior to the World Boxing Championships at Mumbai to meet Ada Jania, the then president of the Olympic Boxing Association of India, and requested to become the official photographer of the World Cup. When Ada Jania told him there was no need for him, Irani offered to work at his office for 6 months for free in return for a ringside badge to cover the event. He continued to try to convince Ada Jania and covered a state boxing match in a different manner than other photographers. Ada Jania was impressed by his photos and his passion and appointed Irani as the official photographer. Meanwhile, he became the photographer for the Norwegian boxing team and photographed specific photos that they needed of Ole Clemetson. When asked about his charges, Irani asked for the international rate. Irani took the required photos with his K1000. Theatrical career. Acting had been a passion for Irani during his school and college days. He trained under acting coach Hansraj Siddiya from 1981 to 1983. Irani's mentor was Alik Padamsi, the veteran theatre actor best known for his role as Muhammad Ali Jinnah in Gandhi. He was introduced to Padamsi by Shyam Akhtar. Irani's earliest theatrical appearance was in Roshni, where he played a cameo at the Regional Theatre in Warsaw. He followed this up with serials like Family Ties and Mahatma vs. Gandhi, playing Gandhi after the role was turned down by Darshan Jariwala. His most illustrious play to date as I Am Not Bajirao, which ran for 10 years. Film career. Irani moved to films in 2000. He started out in a number of advertisements such as Fanta, Seat and Crack Jack Biscuits as Mr. Jack of the Crack and Jack 2O. His small but significant role in Darna Mana Hai earned him acclaim. The film was declared a hit and he was one of the most remembered segments of the film along with Saif Ali Khan. Irani gained attention for his role in the 2003 comedy Munna Bhai MBBS. His role as Jay Asthana earned him a Filmfare Award nomination for Best Comedian. He later appeared in Lage Raho, Munna Bhai, for which he received several IFA Award nominations, and in Three Idiots, opposite Amir Khan, which earned him a Filmfare Award and a Star Screen Award for Best Actor in a Villainous Role. Irani has appeared in many comedic roles: Main Hoon Na, Lage Raho, Munna Bhai, Dostana, Hosla Ka Ghosla, Waqt, The Race Against Time, No Entry, Houseful, Ek Main Aur Ek Tu, Houseful 2, and Cocktail. Irani hosted the IFA Award with actor Ritesh Deshmukh in 2008 in Bangkok, 2009 in Macau, 2010 in Colombo, and 2011 in Toronto. He has been on Kaun Banega Karodpati with Sanjay Dutt. He also hosted the quiz show Bollywood Ka Boss. Irani featured in One Touch Glucose Meters TV commercials in 2015 with Simone Singh. Producer, he launched his production house Irani Movietone on 24 January 2019. The logo was unveiled by Amitabh Bachchan. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Hindustani pronunciation, 25 December 1924 to 16 August 2018, was an Indian statesman who served 3 terms as the Prime Minister of India, first for a term of 13 days in 1996, then for a period of 13 months from 1998 to 1999, followed by a full term from 1999 to 2004. A member of the Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP), he was the first Indian Prime Minister not of the Indian National Congress to serve a full term in office. He was also noted as a poet and a writer. He was a member of the Indian Parliament for over 5 decades, having been elected 10 times to the Lok Sabha, the lower house, and twice to the Rajya Sabha, the upper house. He served as the member of Parliament for Lucknow, retiring from active politics in 2009 due to health concerns. He has and he was among the founding members of the Bharatiya Janata Jana Sangh (BJS), of which he was president from 1968 to 1972. The BJS merged with several other parties to form the Janata Party, which won the 1977 general election. In March 1977, Vajpayee became the Minister of External Affairs in the cabinet of Prime Minister Morarji Desai. He resigned in 1979 and the Janata Alliance collapsed soon after. Former members of the BJS formed the BJP in 1980 with Vajpayee its first president. During his tenure as Prime Minister, India carried out the Pokhran second nuclear test in 1998. Vajpayee sought to improve diplomatic relations with Pakistan, traveling to Lahore by bus to meet with Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. After the 1999 Kargil war with Pakistan, he sought to restore relations through engagement with President Pervez Musharraf, inviting him to India for a summit at Agra. The administration of Narendra Modi declared in 2014 that Vajpayee's birthday, 25 December, would be marked as Good Governance Day. In 2015, he was conferred India's highest civilian honor, the Bharat Ratna, by the President of India, Pranab Mukherjee. He died on 16 August 2018 of age-related illness. Early life and education. Vajpayee was born into a Hindu Brahmin family on 25 December 1924 in Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. His mother and father were Krishna Devi and Krishna Bihari Vajpayee. His father was a school teacher in their hometown. His grandfather Shyamlal Vajpayee had migrated to Morena near Gwalior from his ancestral village of Bateshwar in the Agra district of Uttar Pradesh. Vajpayee did his schooling at the Saraswati Shishu Mandir in Gwalior. In 1934, he was admitted to the Anglo-Vernacular Middle AVM School in Barnagar, Ujjain district. After his father joined as headmaster, he subsequently attended Gwalior's Victoria College, now Maharani Lakshmibai Government College of Excellence, to study for a BA in Hindi, English and Sanskrit. He completed his post-graduation with an MA in Political Science from DAV College, Kanpur. His activism started in Gwalior with Arya Kumar Sabha, the youth wing of the Arya Samaj movement, of which he became the General Secretary in 1944. He also joined the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh (RSS) in 1939 as a Swayamsevak as volunteer. Influenced by Baba Saheb Apte, he attended the officers training camp of the RSS during 1940 to 1944. becoming a pracharak (RSS terminology for a full-time worker) in 1947. He gave up studying law due to the partition riots. He was sent to the Uttar Pradesh as a vistarak, a probationary pracharak, and soon began working for the newspapers of Deendayal Upadhyay, Rashtradharma, a Hindi monthly, Panchjan, a Hindi weekly, and the dailies Swadesh and Veer Arjun. In 1951, Vajpayee was seconded by the RSS along with Deendayal Upadhyay to work for the newly formed Bharatiya Janata Sangh, a Hindu right-wing political party associated with the RSS. He was appointed as a national secretary of the party in charge of the northern region based in Delhi. He soon became a follower and aide of party leader Shyam Prasad Mukherjee. In the 1957 Indian general election, Vajpayee contested elections to the Lok Sabha, the lower house of the Indian Parliament. He lost to Raja Mahendra Pratap in Mathura, but was elected from Balrampur. In the Lok Sabha, his oratorial skills so impressed Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru that it is predicted that Vajpayee would someday become the Prime Minister of India. Vajpayee's oratorial skills won him the reputation of being the most eloquent defender of the Jana Sangh's policies. After the death of Deendayal Upadhyay, the leadership of the Jana Sangh passed to Vijay Vajpayee. He became the national president of the Jana Sangh in 1968, running the party along with Nanaji Deshmukh, Balraj Madhok and L.K. Advani. Janata and the BJP 1975 to 1995. Foreign Minister Vajpayee for right and Prime Minister Morarji Desai third from right front row with US President Jimmy Carter during his 1978 visit to India. Vajpayee was arrested along with several other opposition leaders during the internal emergency imposed by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in 1975. Initially interned in Bangalore, Vajpayee appealed his imprisonment on the grounds of bad health and was moved to a hospital in Delhi. Gandhi ended the state of emergency in 1977. A coalition of parties including the Vijay came together to form the Janata Party, which won the 1977 general elections. Morarji Desai, the chosen leader of the alliance, became the Prime Minister. Vajpayee served as the Minister of External Affairs or Foreign Minister in Desai's cabinet. As Foreign Minister, Vajpayee became the first person in 1977 to deliver a speech to the United Nations General Assembly in Hindi. In 1979, Desai and Vajpayee resigned, triggering the collapse of the Janata Party. The erstwhile member of the Bharatiya Janata Sangh came together to form the Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP) in 1980 with Vajpayee as its first president. The 1984 general elections were held in the wake of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's assassination by her Sikh bodyguards. While he had won the 1977 and the 1980 elections from New Delhi, Vajpayee shifted to his hometown Gwalior for the election. Vidya Rajdan was initially tipped to be the Congress candidate. Instead, Madhav Rao, Sky India scion of the Gwalior royal family, was brought in on the last day of filing nominations. Vajpayee lost to Sky India, managing to secure only 29% of the votes. Under Vajpayee, the BJP moderated the Hindu nationalist position of the Jana Sangh, emphasizing its connection to the Janata Party and expressing support for Gandhian socialism. The ideological shift did not bring its success. Indira Gandhi's assassination generated sympathy for the Congress, leading to a massive victory at the polls. The BJP won only 2 seats in parliament. Vajpayee offered to quit as party president following BJP's dismal performance in the election, but stayed in the post until 1986. He was elected to the Rajya Sabha in 1986 from Madhya Pradesh. and was briefly the leader of the BJP in parliament. In 1986, L.K. Advani took office as president of the BJP. Under him, the BJP returned to a policy of hardline Hindu nationalism. It became the political voice of the Ram Janmabhoomi Mandir movement, which sought to build a temple dedicated to the Hindu deity Rama in Ayodhya. The temple would be built at a site believed to be the birthplace of Rama. After demolishing a 16th century mosque called the Babri Masjid, which then stood there, the strategy paid off for the BJP. It won 86 seats in the Lok Sabha in the 1989 general election, making its support crucial to the government of VP Singh. In December 1992, a group of religious volunteers led by members of the BJP, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh (RSS) and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad tore down the mosque. He served as member of Parliament Lok Sabha for various terms, starting at Balrampur from 1957 to 1962. He served again from Balrampur from 1967 to 1971, then for Gwalior from 1971 to 1977, and then from New Delhi from 1977 to 1984. Finally, he served from Lucknow from 1991 to 2009, terms as Prime Minister 1996 to 2004, first term May 1996. See also First Vajpayee Ministry. During a BJP conference in Mumbai in November 1995, BJP President Advani declared that Vajpayee would be the party's prime ministerial candidate in the forthcoming elections. Vajpayee himself was reported to be unhappy with the announcement, responding by saying that the party needed to win the election first. The BJP became the single largest party in parliament in the 1996 general election, helped by religious polarization across the country as a result of the demolition of the Babri Masjid. Indian President Shankar Dayal Sharma invited Vajpayee to form the government. Vajpayee was sworn in as the 10th Prime Minister of India, but the BJP failed to muster a majority among members of the Lok Sabha. Vajpayee resigned after 16 days when it became clear that he did not have enough support to form a government. Second term 1998 to 1999. See also Second Vajpayee Ministry. After the fall of the two United Front governments between 1996 and 1998, the Lok Sabha was dissolved and fresh elections were held. The 1998 general elections again put the BJP ahead of others. A number of political parties joined the BJP to form the National Democratic Alliance, and Vajpayee was sworn in as the Prime Minister. The coalition was an uneasy one, as apart from the Shiv Sena, none of the other parties espoused the BJP's Hindu nationalist ideology. Vajpayee has been credited for managing this coalition successfully while facing ideological pressure from the hardline wing of the party and from the RSS. Vajpayee's government lasted 13 months until midnight 1999, when all the India Anna Dravid Munitra Kazhagam under Jayalalitha withdrew its support. The government lost the ensuing vote of confidence motion in the Lok Sabha by a single vote on 17 April 1999. As the opposition was unable to come up with the numbers to form the new government, the Lok Sabha was again dissolved and fresh elections were held. Nuclear test. See also Pokhran 2nd. In May 1998, India conducted 5 underground nuclear tests in the Pokhran Desert in Rajasthan. 24 years after its first nuclear test, Smiling Buddha, in 1974. 2 weeks later, Pakistan responded with its own nuclear test, making it the newest nation with declared nuclear capability. While some nations such as France endorsed India's right to defensive nuclear power, others including the United States, Canada, Japan, Britain and the European Union imposed sanctions on information, resources and technology to India in spite of intense international criticism and steady decline in foreign investment and trade. The nuclear tests were popular domestically. In effect, the international sanctions imposed failed to sway India from weaponizing its nuclear capability. US sanctions against India and Pakistan were eventually lifted after just 6 months. Lahore Summit in late 1998 and early 1999. Vajpayee began a push for a full-scale diplomatic peace process with Pakistan with the historic inauguration of the Delhi-Lahore bus service in February 1999. Vajpayee initiated a new peace process aimed towards permanently resolving the Kashmir dispute and other conflicts with Pakistan. The resultant Lahore Declaration espoused a commitment to dialogue, expanded trade relations, and mutual friendship and envisaged a goal of denuclearized South Asia. This eased the tension created by the 1998 nuclear test, not only within the two nations but also in South Asia and the rest of the world. AIADMK's withdrawal from coalition. The AIADMK had continually threatened to withdraw from the coalition, and national leaders repeatedly flew down from Delhi to Chennai to pacify the AIADMK chief Jayalalitha. However, in May 1999, the AIADMK did pull the plug on the NDA, and the Vajpayee administration was reduced to a caretaker status pending fresh elections scheduled for October 1999. Kargil War. Further information. Kargil War. In May 1999, some Kashmiri shepherds discovered the presence of militants and non-uniformed Pakistani soldiers, many with official identifications, and Pakistan Army's custom weaponry in the Kashmir Valley, where they had taken control of border hilltops and unmanned border posts. The incursion was centered around the town of Kargil, but also included the Batalik and Akhnoor sectors and artillery exchanges at the Siachen Glacier. The Indian Army responded with Operation Vijay, which launched on 26 May 1999. This saw the Indian military fighting thousands of militants and soldiers in the midst of heavy artillery shelling and while facing extremely cold weather, snow and treacherous terrain at the high altitude. Over 500 Indian soldiers were killed in the 3-month-long Kargil War, and it is estimated around 600 to 4,000 Pakistani militants and soldiers died as well. India pushed back the Pakistani militants and Northern Light Infantry soldiers. Almost 70% of the territory was recaptured by India. Vajpayee sent a secret letter to US President Bill Clinton that if Pakistani infiltrators did not withdraw from the Indian territory, we will get them out, one way or the other, meaning he did not rule out crossing the line of control or was the use of nuclear weapons. After Pakistan suffered heavy losses, and with both the United States and China refusing to condone the incursion or threaten India to stop its military operations, General Pervez Musharraf was recalcitrant and Nawaz Sharif asked the remaining militants to stop and withdraw to positions along with the LOC. The militants were not willing to accept orders from Sharif, but the NLI soldiers withdrew. The militants were killed by the Indian Army or forced to withdraw in skirmishes which continued even after the announcement of withdrawal by Pakistan. Third term 1999 to 2004. See also Third Vajpayee Ministry 1999 to 2002. The 1999 general elections were held in the aftermath of the Kargil operations. The BJP-led NDA won 303 seats out of the 543 seats in the Lok Sabha, securing a comfortable and stable majority. On 13 October 1999, Vajpayee took oath as Prime Minister of India for the third time. A national crisis emerged in December 1999 when Indian Airlines flight IC-814 from Kathmandu to New Delhi was hijacked by five terrorists and flown to Taliban-ruled Afghanistan. The hijackers made several demands, including the release of certain terrorists like Masood Azhar from prison. Under pressure, the government ultimately caved in. Jaswant Singh, the Minister of External Affairs at the time, flew with the terrorists to Afghanistan and exchanged them for the passengers. Vajpayee with Russian President Vladimir Putin on 6 November 2001. In March 2000, Bill Clinton, the President of the United States, paid a state visit to India. This was the first state visit to India by a US president in 22 years since President Jimmy Carter's visit in 1978. President Clinton's visit was hailed as a significant milestone in relations between the two nations. Vajpayee and Clinton had wide-ranging discussions on bilateral, regional, and international developments. The visit led to expansion in trade and economic ties between India and the United States. A vision document on the future course of Indo-US relations was signed during the visit. Domestically, the BJP-led government was influenced by the RSS, but owing to its dependence on coalition support, it was impossible for the BJP to push items like building the Ram Janmabhoomi temple in Ayodhya, repealing Article 370, which gave a special status to the state of Kashmir, or enacting a uniform civil code applicable to adherents of all religions. On 17 January 2000, there were reports of the RSS and some BJP hardliners threatening to restart the Jansangh, the precursor to the BJP, because of their discontent over Vajpayee's rule. Former president of the Jansangh, Balraj Madhok, had written a letter to the then RSS chief Rajendra Singh for support. The BJP was, however, accused of saffronizing the official state education curriculum and apparatus, saffron being the color of RSS flag of the RSS and a symbol of the Hindu nationalism movement. Home Minister L.K. Advani and Human Resource Development Minister Murli Manohar Joshi were indicated in the 1992 Babri Mosque demolition case for inciting a mob of activists. Vajpayee himself came under public scrutiny owing to its controversial speech one day prior to the mosque demolition. Vajpayee meeting US President George W. Bush in the White House on 9 November 2001. These years were accompanied by infighting in the administration and confusion regarding the direction of government. Vajpayee's weakening health was also as a subject of public interest, and the underwent a major knee replacement surgery at the Breach Candy Hospital in Mumbai to relieve intense pressure upon his legs. In March 2001, the Tehelka Group released a sting operation video named Operation West End, which showed BJP President Bangaru Lakshman, senior army officers and NDA members accepting bribes from journalists posing as agents and businessmen. The Defense Minister George Fernandez was forced to resign following the Barak missile scandal involving the Bosch supplies of coffins for the soldiers killed in Kargil and the findings of an inquiry commission that the government could have prevented the Kargil invasion. Vajpayee initiated talks with Pakistan and invited Pakistani President Pervez Musharraf to Agra for a joint summit. President Musharraf was believed to be the principal architect of the Kargil war in India. By accepting him as the President of Pakistan, Vajpayee chose to move forward, leaving behind the Kargil war. But after 3 days of much fanfare, which included Musharraf visiting his birthplace in Delhi, the summit failed to achieve a breakthrough as President Musharraf declined to leave aside the issue of Kashmir. 2001 attack on Parliament. Main article 2001 Indian Parliament attack. On 13 December 2001, A group of masked armed men with fake IDs stormed Parliament House in Delhi. The terrorists managed to kill several security guards, but the building was sealed off swiftly, and security forces cornered and killed the men who were later proven to be the Pakistan nationals. Vajpayee ordered Indian troops to mobilize for war, leading to an estimated 5 lakh to 7 lakh 50,000 Indian soldiers positioned along the international border between India and Pakistan. Pakistan responded by mobilizing its own troops along the border. A terrorist attack on an army garrison in Kashmir in May 2002 further escalated the situation as the threat of war between two nuclear capable countries and the consequent possibility to of a nuclear exchange loomed large. International diplomatic mediation focused on diffusing the situation. In October 2002, both India and Pakistan announced that they would withdraw their troops from the border. The Vajpayee administration brought in the Prevention of Terrorism Act in 2002. The act was aimed at curbing terrorist threats by strengthening powers of government authorities to investigate and act against suspects. It was passed in a joint session of the parliament amidst concerns that the law would be misused. Another political disaster hit his government between December 2001 and March 2002. The VHP held the government hostage in a major standoff in Ayodhya over the Ram temple. On the 10th anniversary of the destruction of the Babri Mosque, the VHP wanted to perform a Shiladan or a ceremony laying the foundation stone of the cherished temple at the disputed site. Thousands of VHP activists amassed and threatened to overrun the site and forcibly perform the ceremony. A grave threat of not only communal violence but an outright breakdown of law and order owing to the defiance of the government by a religious organization hung over the nation. The incident, however, ended peacefully with a symbolic handover of a stone at a different location 1 kilometer away from the disputed site. 2002 Gujarat violence. Main article 2002 Gujarat riots. In February 2002, a train filled with Hindu pilgrims returning to Gujarat from Ayodhya stopped in the town of Godhra. A scuffle broke out between Hindu activists and Muslim residents, and the train was set on fire, leading to the deaths of 59 people. The charred bodies of the victims were displayed in public in the city of Ahmedabad, and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad called for a statewide strike in Gujarat. These decisions stopped anti-Muslim sentiments, blaming Muslims for the death. Rampaging Hindu mobs killed thousands of Muslim men and women, destroying Muslim homes and places of worship. The violence raged for more than 2 months and more than 1,000 people died. Gujarat was being ruled by a BJP government with Narendra Modi as the chief minister. The state government was criticized for mishandling the situation. It was accused of doing little to stop the violence and even being complicit in encouraging it. Vajpayee reportedly wanted to remove Modi but was eventually prevailed upon the party member to not act against him. He travelled to Gujarat visiting Godhra and Ahmedabad, the site of the most violent riots. He announced financial aid for victims and urged an end to the violence. While he condemned the violence, he did not chastise Modi directly in public. When asked as to what would be his message to the chief minister in the event of the riots having taken place, Vajpayee responded that Modi must follow Raj Dharam, Hindi for ethical governance. At the meeting of the BJP National Executive in Goa in April 2002, Vajpayee's speech generated controversy for its contents, which included him saying, "Wherever Muslims live, they don't like to live in coexistence with others." The Prime Minister's office stated that these remarks had been taken out of context. Vajpayee was accused of doing nothing to stop the violence and later admitted mistakes in handling the events. K.R. Narayan, then President of India, also blamed the Vajpayee government for failing to quell the violence. After the BJP's defeat in the 2004 general elections, Vajpayee admitted that not removing Modi had been a mistake. 2002 to 2004. In late 2002 and 3, the government pushed through economic reforms. The country's GDP growth exceeded 7% every year from 2003 to 2007. Following 3 years of sub 5% growth, increasing foreign investment, modernization of public and industrial infrastructure, the creation of jobs, a rising high-tech and IT industry, and urban modernization and expansion improved the nation's international image. Good crop harvest and strong industrial expansion also helped the economy. The government reformed the tax system, increased the pace of reforms and pro-business initiatives, major irrigation and housing schemes, and so on. The political energies of the BJP shifted to the rising urban middle class and young people who were positive and enthusiastic about the major economic expansion and future of the country. He faced stiff opposition from other equally strong organizations in the Sangh Parivar, such as the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh and the Bharatiya Kisan Sangh. However, he continued with his aggressive economic reform policy. In May 2003, he announced before the parliament that he would make one last effort to achieve peace with Pakistan. The announcement ended a period of 16 months following the 2001 attack on the Indian parliament, during which India had severed diplomatic ties with Pakistan. Although diplomatic relations did not pick up immediately, visits were exchanged by high-level officials and the military standoff ended. The Pakistani president and Pakistani politicians, civil and religious leaders hailed this initiative, as did the leaders of the United States, Europe, and much of the world. In July 2003, Prime Minister Vajpayee visited China and met with various Chinese leaders. He recognized Tibet as a part of China, which was welcomed by Chinese leadership, and which in the following year recognized Sikkim as part of India. China-India relations improved greatly in the following years. Policies. Vajpayee's government introduced many domestic economic and infrastructural reforms, including encouraging the private sector and foreign investment, reducing governmental waste, encouraging research and development, and privatization of some government-owned corporations. Among Vajpayee's projects were the National Highways Development Project and Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. In 2001, the Vajpayee government launched the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan campaign, aimed at improving the quality of education in primary and secondary school. 2004 general election. In 2003, news reports suggested a tussle within the BJP with regard to sharing of leadership between Vajpayee and Deputy Prime Minister L.K. Advani. BJP President Venkaiah Naidu had suggested that Advani must lead the party politically at the 2004 general elections, referring to Vajpayee as Vikas Purush, Hindi for development man, and Advani as Loh Purush, Iron Man. When Vajpayee subsequently threatened retirement, Naidu backtracked, announcing that the party would contest the elections under the twin leadership of Vajpayee and Advani. The NDA was widely expected to retain power after the 2004 general election. It announced elections 6 months ahead of schedule, hoping to capitalize on economic growth and Vajpayee's peace initiative with Pakistan. The 13th Lok Sabha was dissolved before the completion of its term. The BJP hoped to capitalize on a perceived feel-good actor, and BJP's recent successes in the assembly elections in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh. Under the India Shining campaign, it released ads proclaiming the economic growth of the nation under the government. However, the BJP could only win 138 seats in the 543-seat parliament, with several prominent cabinet ministers being defeated. The NDA coalition won 185 seats. The Indian National Congress, led by Sonia Gandhi, emerged as the single largest party, winning 145 seats in the election. The Congress and its allies, comprising many smaller parties, formed the United Progressive Alliance, accounting for 220 seats in the parliament. Vajpayee resigned as Prime Minister. The UPA, with the outside support of communist parties, formed the next government with Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister. Post-premiership in December 2005, Vajpayee announced his retirement from active politics, declaring that he would not contest in the next general election. In a famous statement at the BJP's Silver Jubilee rally at Mumbai's Shivaji Park, Vajpayee announced that henceforth Lal Krishna Advani and Pramod Mahajan will be the Ram Lakshman, the two godly brothers much revered and worshipped by Hindu of the BJP. Vajpayee was referred to as the Bhishma Pitama of Indian politics by former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh during a speech in the Rajya Sabha, a reference to the character in the Hindu epic Mahabharata who was held in respect by two warring sides. Vajpayee was hospitalized at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Delhi, AIIMS, for a chest infection and fever on 6th February 2009. He was put on ventilator support as his condition worsened, but he eventually recuperated and was later discharged. Unable to participate in the campaign for the 2009 general election due to his poor health, he wrote a letter urging voters to back the BJP. His protege Lalji Tandon was able to retain the Lucknow seat in that election, even though the NDA suffered electoral reverses all over the country. It was speculated that Vajpayee's non-partisan appeal contributed to Lalji's success in Lucknow, in contrast to that BJP's poor performance elsewhere in Uttar Pradesh. Personal life: Vajpayee remained a bachelor for his entire life. He adopted and raised Namita Bhattacharya as his own child, the daughter of longtime friend Rajkumari Kaul and her husband Professor B.N. Kaul. His adopted family lived with him. Unlike purist Brahmins who shunned meat and alcohol, Vajpayee was known to be fond of whiskey and meat. He was a noted poet, writing in Hindi. His published works include Kaidi Kaviraj Ki Kundaliyan, a collection of poems written when he was imprisoned during the 1975-77 emergency, and Amar Aag Hai. With regard to his poetry, he wrote, "My poetry is a declaration of war, not an exordium to defeat. It is not the defeated soldier's drumbeat of despair. It is not the defeated soldier's drumbeat, but the fighting warrior's will to win. It is not the dispirited voice of dejection, but the stirring shout of victory." Death: Vajpayee's funeral procession moving to Smriti Sthal near Rajghat for last rites. Vajpayee suffered a stroke in 2009, which impaired his speech. His health had been a major source of concern. Reports said he was confined to a wheelchair and failed to recognize people. He also suffered from dementia and long-term diabetes. For many years, he had not attended any public engagements and rarely ventured out of the house, except for checkups at the All India Institutes of Medical Sciences. On 11 June 2018, Vajpayee was admitted to AIIMS in critical condition following a kidney infection. He was officially declared dead there at 5:05 p.m. IST on 16 August 2018 at the age of 93. Some sources claim that he had died on the previous day. On the morning of 17 August, Vajpayee's body, draped with the Indian flag, was taken to the Bharatiya Janata Party headquarters, where party workers paid their tributes until 1 p.m. Later that afternoon at 4 p.m., Vajpayee was cremated with full state honours at Rashtriya Smriti Sthal near Rajghat, and his pyre was lit by his foster daughter Namita Kaul Bhattacharya. Thousands of people and many dignitaries attended his funeral procession, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Ram Nath Kovind. On 19 August, his ashes were immersed in Ganga river at Haridwar by call. Reactions and tributes on his death. India reacted to Vajpayee's death with grief and thousands of tributes poured in through social media platforms. Thousands of people paid their respects during his funeral procession. A 7-day state mourning was announced by the central government throughout India. The national flag flew half-mast during this period. Afghanistan. Former Afghan President Hamid Karzai was among several foreign dignitaries present at former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee's funeral in New Delhi. He recalled that the departed leader was the first to offer us civilian planes, Airbuses at the time we were starting out. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina expressed deep shock at the demise of former Indian Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee and said, "It is a day of great sadness for the people of Bangladesh." Paying tribute to Vajpayee, Hasina termed him as one of the most famous sons of India and a highly respected person in Bangladesh. Bhutan King Jigme Khesar Namgyel Wangchuk attended the funeral ceremony in New Delhi. China. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the Indian leader was an outstanding Indian statesman and had made outstanding contributions to the development of Sino-Indian relations. China expresses its deep condolences on his death and sincere condolences to the Indian government and people and the relatives of Mr. Vajpayee. Premier Lee Kuan was sent a condolence message to the leaders of India, the statement said. Japan. Remembering Vajpayee's visit to Japan in 2001, the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said, "On behalf of the government and people of Japan, I would like to convey my sincerest condolences to the government and people of India and the bereaved family." His Excellency Vajpayee visited Japan in 2001 as the then Prime Minister and made significant contributions to the friendship between our two countries as a good friend of Japan. It is him who established the cornerstone of Japan-India relations today, terming Vajpayee as an eminent leader of India. Abini added, "I pray from the bottom of my heart that his soul may rest in peace." Mauritius. On 17 August, the government of Mauritius announced that both Mauritian and Indian flags would fly at half-mast in the honor of Vajpayee. During the World Hindi Conference in Mauritius, PM Pravind Jugnauth announced that the cyber tower towards which Vajpayee contributed to be set up in Mauritius would be henceforth named as Atal Bihari Vajpayee Tower. Pakistan's interim Minister for Law and Information, Saeed Ali Jafar, met External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and extended Pakistan's condolence on the death of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Jafar was among the foreign dignitaries who attended Vajpayee's funeral in New Delhi. Former Pakistani President Pervez Musharraf mourned the demise of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, calling him a great man. He said that Vajpayee's demise was a great loss for both India as well as Pakistan. Russian President Vladimir Putin sent a message of condolences to President Ram Nath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the demise of Vajpayee. Putin termed the former Prime Minister as outstanding statesman. Atal Bihari Vajpayee rightly commanded great respect around the world. He will be remembered as a politician who made a major personal contribution to the friendly relations and privileged strategic partnership between our countries. The President of Russia conveyed words of sincere sympathy and support to the family of the deceased, the government and the people of India. The message read. Sri Lanka. Various Sri Lanka leaders paid rich tribute to the three-time PM, hailing him as a friend of Sri Lanka. In a tweet, President Maithripala Sirisena said, "Today we have lost a great humanist and a true friend of Sri Lanka. Former Prime Minister of India Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a visionary leader and an ardent defender of democracy. My condolences to his family and millions of his admirers around the world." Leader of opposition R. Sampanthan said that India has lost one of its most regarded intellectual and statesmen. He served the great country of India with humility and honesty, and he was much loved and respected by millions of people across the world. Former three-time Prime Minister Vajpayee is also an exceptional orator and a leader with a great sense of humor. His speeches within the Indian Parliament and outside will always be remembered, he said in a statement extending his condolences on behalf of the Tamil people of Sri Lanka. United States U.S. Secretary of State Michael Pompeo said Vajpayee recognized early on that the U.S.-India partnership would contribute to the world's economic prosperity and security, and the two democracies would continue to benefit from his vision. On behalf of the people of the United States of America, I extend my heartfelt condolences to the people of India on the recent passing of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Pompeo said in a statement yesterday. He recalled Vajpayee's address to the Congress in 2000, when he had famously characterized US-India ties as a natural partnership of shared endeavors. Today, our two countries and our bilateral relationship continue to benefit from Prime Minister Vajpayee's vision, which helped promote expanded cooperation. Pompeo said, the American people stand with the people of India as we mourn Prime Minister Vajpayee's passing. Abhishek Sharma is an Indian film director and writer known for his works in Hindi cinema. He has directed comedy films like Tere Bin Laden, its sequel Tere Bin Laden Dead or Alive, and The Shaukeens. His film Parmanu, the story of Pokhran, based on the nuclear test named Pokhran 2nd. As of August 2018, Sharma is shooting the film adaptation of Anuj Chauhan's novel The Joya Factor with Sonam Kapoor and Dalquer Salman. Established in 2012, G Studios, a subsidiary of the Issel Group, is an Indian film studio. It produces, acquires and distributes film across genres, budgets and languages, along with short and long format digital content. The studio makes film in various Indian languages and has been also involved in international productions. Most films can be found streaming on DTT platform G5, Netflix and Amazon Prime Video. The Pokhran 2nd test were a series of 5 nuclear bomb test explosions conducted by India at the Indian Army Pokhran test range in May 1998. It was the second instance of nuclear testing conducted by India. The first test, codenamed Smiling Buddha, was conducted in May 1974. The test achieved their main objective of giving India the capability to build fission and thermonuclear weapons with yields up to 200 kilotons. The then chairman of the Indian Atomic Energy Commission described each one of the explosions of Pokhran 2nd to be equivalent to several tests carried out by other nuclear weapon states over decades. Subsequently, India established computer simulation capability to predict the yields of nuclear explosives, whose designs are related to the designs of explosives used in this test. Pokhran 2nd consisted of 5 detonations, the first of which was a fusion bomb while the remaining 4 were fission bombs. The tests were initiated on 11 May 1998 under the assigned code name Operation Shakti, with the detonation of 1 fusion and 2 fission bombs. On 13 May 1998, 2 additional fission devices were detonated, and the Indian government, led by Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, shortly convened a press conference to declare India a full-fledged nuclear state. The test resulted in a variety of sanctions against India by a number of major states, including Japan and the United States. Many names have been assigned to these tests. Originally, these were collectively called Operation Shakti 98, and the five nuclear bombs were designated Shakti 1 through to Shakti 5. More recently, the operation as a whole has come to be known as Pokhran 2nd and the 1974 explosion as Pokhran 1st. Contents: India's nuclear bomb project, post Smiling Buddha, political momentum 1988 to 1998, 1998 Indian general elections, preparation for the test, nuclear weapon designs and development and test teams, movement and logistics, specifications and detonation, announcement, reaction to test, domestic reactions, international reactions, Canada, Japan and other countries, China, Pakistan, United States, UN scrutinization, legacy, in popular culture, see also references, external links. India's nuclear bomb project. Efforts toward building the nuclear bomb, infrastructure and research on related technologies have been undertaken by India since World War II. Origins of India's nuclear program date back to 1944, when nuclear scientist Homi Bhabha began persuading the Indian Congress towards the harnessing of nuclear energy. A year later, he established the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. In 1950s, the preliminary studies were carried out at the Bark and plans were developed to produce plutonium and other bomb components. In 1962, India and China engaged in the disputed Northern Front and was further intimidated with Chinese nuclear tests in 1964. Direction toward militarization of the nuclear program slowed down when Vikram Sarabhai became its head and little interest of Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri in 1965. After Indira Gandhi became Prime Minister in 1966, the nuclear program was consolidated when Psychist Raja Ramanna joined the efforts. Another nuclear test by China eventually led to India's decision towards building nuclear weapons in 1967 and conducted its first nuclear test, Smiling Buddha, in 1974. Post Smiling Buddha. Responding to Smiling Buddha, the nuclear suppliers group severely affected India's nuclear program. The world's major nuclear powers imposed technological embargo on India and Pakistan, which was technologically racing to meet with India's achievement. The nuclear program struggled for years to gain credibility and its progress was crippled by the lack of indigenous resources and dependence on imported technology and technical assistance. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi declared to the IAEA that India's nuclear program was not militarizing despite authorizing preliminary work on the hydrogen bomb design. In the aftermath of the state emergency in 1975 that resulted in the collapse of the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's government, the nuclear program was left with a vacuum of political leadership and even basic management. Work on the hydrogen bomb design continued under M. Srinivasan, a mechanical engineer, but progress was slow. The nuclear program received little attention from Prime Minister Morarji Desai, who was renowned for his peace advocacy. In 1978, Prime Minister Desai transferred physicist Raman to Indian MOD and his government once again accelerated India's nuclear program. Shortly thereafter, the world discovered the Pakistan's clandestine atomic bomb program. Contrary to India's nuclear program, Pakistan's atomic bomb program was akin to United States' Manhattan Project in that it was under military oversight with civilian scientists in charge of the scientific aspects of the program. The Pakistani atomic bomb program was all funded and organized by then. India realized that Pakistan was likely to succeed in its project in matter of 2 years. In 1980, the general elections marked the return of Indira Gandhi and the nuclear program began to gain momentum. Under Ramanna in 1981, requests for additional nuclear tests continued to be denied by the government. After Prime Minister Indira Gandhi saw Pakistan begin engaging in brinkmanship, though the nuclear program continued to advance. Work towards the hydrogen bomb as well as the launch of the missile program began under Dr. Abdul Kalam, who was then an aerospace engineer. Political momentum 1988 to 1998. During the 1998 Indian general election, BJP's Atal Bihari Vajpayee promised to carry out nuclear tests. In 1989, the general elections witnessed the Janata Party led by VP Singh forming the government. Prime Minister VP Singh downplayed the relations with the Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, whose Pakistan People's Party (PPP) won the general elections in 1988. Foreign relations between India and Pakistan severely worsened when India accused Pakistan of supporting the insurgents in Jammu and Kashmir. During this time, the Indian missile program succeeded in the development of the Prithvi missiles. Successive governments in India decided to observe this temporary moratorium. The fear of inviting international criticism, the Indian public had supported the nuclear test, which ultimately led Prime Minister Narasimha Rao deciding to conduct further tests in 1995. Plans were halted after American spy satellites picked up signs of preparations for nuclear testing at Pokhran Test Range in Rajasthan. President Bill Clinton and his administration exerted enormous pressure on Prime Minister Narasimha Rao to stop the preparations. Responding to India, Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto issued harsh criticism of India on Pakistan's news channels, thus putting stress on the relations between two countries. Diplomatic tensions escalated between India and Pakistan when Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto raised the Kashmir issue at the United Nations in 1995. In a speech delivered by then Speaker of the National Assembly of Pakistan, Yusuf Raja Gilani stressed the Kashmir problem as a continuing threat to peace and security in the region. The Indian delegation headed by Atal Bihari Vajpayee at the United Nations reiterated that the UN resolutions only call upon Pakistan, the occupying force, to vacate the Jammu and Kashmir area. 1998 Indian General Elections. Main article 1998 Indian General Elections. Bharatiya Janata Party, Indian economy and Indian politics. The BJP came to power in 1998 general elections with an exclusive public mandate. BJP's political might had been growing steadily in strength over the past decade over several issues. In Pakistan, the similar conservative force, the PMLN, was also in power with an exclusive mandate led by Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, who defeated the elections held in 1997. During the BJP campaign, Atal Bihari Vajpayee indulged in grandstanding such as when he declared on 25 February that his government would take back that Kashmir that is under Pakistan's control. Before this declaration, the BJP platform had clear intentions to exercise the option to induct nuclear weapons, and India should become an openly nuclear power to garner that respect on the world stage that India deserved. By 18 March 1998, Vajpayee publicly began lobbying for nuclear testing and declared that There is no compromise on national security. All options, including the nuclear options, will be exercised to protect security and sovereignty. Consultation began between Prime Minister Vajpayee and Dr. Abdul Kalam, R. Chidambaram, and officials of the Indian DAE on nuclear options. Chidambaram briefed Prime Minister Vajpayee extensively on the nuclear program. Abdul Kalam presented the status of the missile program. On 28 March 1998, Prime Minister Vajpayee asked the scientists to make preparations in the shortest time possible, and preparations were hastily made. Consultation began between Prime Minister Vajpayee, Dr. Abdul Kalam, R. Chidambaram, and officials of the Indian DAE on nuclear options. Chidambaram briefed Prime Minister Vajpayee extensively on the nuclear program. Abdul Kalam presented the status of the missile program. On 28 March 1998, Prime Minister Vajpayee asked the scientists to make preparations in the shortest time possible, and preparations were hastily made. Pakistan, at a conference on disarmament, offered a peace agreement with India for an equal and mutual restraint in conventional missile and nuclear fields. Pakistan's equation was later re-emphasized on 6 April, and the momentum in India for nuclear tests began to build up by strengthening Vajpayee's position to order the test. Preparations for the test. Main article: CIA activities in India, ISI activities in India, and Indo-US relations. The US Marine Intelligence Map showing the Indian test site, 1997. Unlike Pakistan's weapon testing laboratories, there was very little that India could do to hide its activity at Pokhran. Unlike the high-altitude granite mountains in Pakistan, the bushes are sparse, and the dunes in the Rajasthan desert don't provide much cover from probing satellites. The Indian Intelligence Agency had been aware of United States spy satellites, and the American CIA had been detecting Indian preparations since 1995. Therefore, the test required complete secrecy in India and also needed to avoid detection by other countries. The 58th Engineer Regiment of the Indian Army Corps of Engineers was commissioned to prepare the test sites to avoid detection by the United States spy satellites. The 58th Engineers Commander Colonel Gopal Kaushik supervised the test preparations and ordered his staff officers to take all measures to ensure total secrecy. Extensive planning was done by a small group of scientists, senior military officers, and senior politicians to ensure that the test preparation would remain secret, and even senior members of the Indian government didn't know what was going on. The chief scientific advisor and the director of Defense Research and Development Organization, Dr. Abdul Kalam, and Dr. P. Chidambaram, R. Chidambaram, the director of the Department of Atomic Energy, DAE, were the chief coordinators of this test planning. The scientists and engineers of the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, the Atomic Minerals Directorate for Explorations and Research, and the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, were involved in the nuclear weapon assembly, layout, detonation, and data collection. A small group of senior scientists were involved in the detonation process. All scientists were required to wear army uniform to preserve the secrecy of the test. Since 1995, the 58th Engineer Regiment had learned how to avoid satellite detection. Work was mostly done during night, and the equipment was returned to the original place to give the impression that it was never moved. Bomb shafts were dug under camouflage netting, and the dug out sand was shaped like dunes. Cables for sensors were covered with sand and concealed using native vegetation. Scientists would not depart for Pokhran in groups of 2 or 3. They traveled to destinations other than Pokhran under pseudonyms and were then transported by the army. Technical staff at the test range wore military uniforms to prevent detection in satellite images. Nuclear weapon designs and development and test teams. The main technical personnel involved in the operation were Project Chief Coordinator Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, later President of India, Scientific Advisor to the Prime Minister and Head of the DRDO, Dr. R. Chidambaram, Chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission and the Department of Atomic Energy Defense Research and Development Organization, Dr. K. Santhanam, Director Test Site Preparations, Atomic Minerals Directorate for Exploration and Research, Dr. G. R. Dikshitulu, Senior Research Scientist, BSOI Group, Nuclear Materials Acquisition, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Dr. Anil Kodkar, Director of Park, Dr. Satyendra Kumar Sikka, Director Thermonuclear Weapon Development, Dr. M.S. Ramakumar, Director of Nuclear Fuel and Automation Manufacturing Group, Director Nuclear Component Manufacture, Dr. D.D. Sood, Director of Radiochemistry and Isotope Group, Director Nuclear Materials Acquisition, Dr. S.K. Gupta, Solid State Physics and Spectroscopy Group, Director Device Design and Assessment, Dr. G. Govind Raj, Associate Director of Electronic and Instrumentation Group, Director Field Instrumentation. Movement and Logistics. Main articles: Military Logistics and Indian Army Corps of Engineers. The Thar Desert in the state of Rajasthan, where the nuclear site, the Pokhran Test Range, is located. 3 laboratories of the DRDO were involved in designing, testing and producing components for the bombs, including the advanced detonators, the implosion and high voltage trigger system. These were also responsible for weaponizing systems engineering, aerodynamics, safety, interlocks and flight trials. The bombs were transported in 4 Indian Army trucks under the command of Colonel Umang Kapoor. All devices from VARC were relocated at 3 a.m. on 1 May 1998 from the Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport. The bombs were flown in an Indian Air Force AN-32 commanded by Squadron Leader Mahendra Prasad Sharma plane to Jaisalmer. They were transported to Pokhran in an army convoy of 4 trucks, and this required 3 trips. The devices were delivered to the device preparation building, which was designated as prayer hall. The test sites was organized into 2 government groups and were fired separately, with all devices in a group fired at the same time. The first group consisted of the thermonuclear device Shakti 1, the fusion device Shakti 2nd, and a sub-kiloton device Shakti 3rd. The second group consisted of the remaining 2 sub-kiloton devices Shakti 4 and 5. It was decided that the group first would be tested on 11 May and second group on 13 May. The thermonuclear device was placed in a shaft code named White House, which was over 200 meters, 660 feet deep. The fusion bomb was placed in a 150 meters, 490 feet deep shaft code named Taj Mahal, and the first sub-kiloton device in Kumbhkaran. The first 3 devices were placed in their respective shaft on 10 May, and the first device to be placed was the sub-kiloton device in the Kumbhkaran shaft, which was sealed by the army engineers by 8:30 p.m. The thermonuclear device was lowered and sealed into the White House shaft by 4 a.m. and the fission device being placed in the Taj Mahal shaft was sealed at 7:30 a.m., which was 90 minutes before the planned test time. The shafts were L-shaped with a horizontal chamber for the test device. The timing of the test depended on the local weather conditions, with the wind being the critical factor. The tests were underground, but due to a number of shaft seal failures that had occurred during tests conducted by the United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom, the sealing of the shaft could not be guaranteed to be leak-proof. By early afternoon, the winds had died down and the test sequence was initiated. Dr. K. Santanam of the DRDO, in charge of the test site preparation, gave the two keys that activated the test countdown to Dr. M. Vasudev, the range safety officer who was responsible for verifying that all test indicators were normal. After checking the indicators, Vasudev handed one key each to a representative of BARC and the DRDO, who unlocked the countdown system together. At 3:45 p.m., the three devices were detonated. Specifications and detonation. Shakti 1 bomb crater on May 11, 1998. 5 nuclear devices were made during Operation Shakti. 4 of the devices were weapon-grade plutonium and 1 thorium under 233. They were Shakti 1, a thermonuclear device yielding 56 kT but designed for up to 200 kT. The yield of this device was deliberately kept low in order to avoid civilian damage and to eliminate the possibility of a radioactive leak. Shakti 2, a plutonium implosion design yielding 15 kT and intended as a warhead that could be delivered by bomber or missile. It was an improvement of the device detonated in the 1974 Smiling Buddha Pokhran first test of 1974, developed using simulations on the Param supercomputer. Shakti 3, an experimental linear implosion design that used non-weapon grade plutonium but which likely omitted the material required for fusion yielding 0.3 kT. Shakti 4, a 0.5 kT experimental device. Shakti 5, a 0.2 kT thorium under 233 experimental device. An additional sixth device, Shakti 6, is suspected to have been present but not detonated. At 3:43 p.m. IST, 3 nuclear bombs, specifically the Shakti 1, 2nd and 3rd, were detonated simultaneously as measured by international seismic monitors. On 13 May at 12:21 p.m. IST 6:51 UTC, 2 sub-kiloton devices, Shakti 4 and 5, were detonated. Due to their very low yield, these explosions were not detected by any seismic stations. On 13 May 1998, India declared the series of tests to be over after this announcement. Following the Pokhran second test, India became the 6th country to join the nuclear club. Shortly after the test, a press meet was convened at the Prime Minister's residence in New Delhi. Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee appeared before the press corps and made the following short statement. Today at 15:45 hours, India conducted 3 underground nuclear tests in Pokhran range. The tests conducted today were in the fusion device, a low-yield device, and a thermonuclear device. The measured yields are in line with expected values. Measurements have also confirmed that there was no release of radioactive into the atmosphere. These were contained explosions like the experiment conducted in May 1974. I warmly congratulate the scientists and engineers who have carried out these successful tests. Reaction to test. Domestic reactions. News of the test were greeted with jubilation and large-scale approval by society in India. The Bombay Stock Exchange registered significant gains Newspapers and television channels praised the government for its bold decision. Editorials were full of praise for the country's leadership and advocated the development of an operational nuclear arsenal for the country's armed forces. The Indian opposition, led by Congress Party, criticized the Vajpayee administration for carrying out the series of nuclear tests. The Congress Party spokesperson Salman Khurshid accused the BJP of trying to use the test for political ends rather than to enhance the country's national security. By the time India had conducted tests, the country had a total of $44 billion in loan in 1998 from the IMF and the World Bank. The industrial sectors of the Indian economy, such as the chemicals industry, are likely to be hurt by sanctions. The Western consortium companies, which had invested heavily in India, especially in construction, computing and telecoms, were generally the ones who are harmed by the sanctions. In 1998, Indian government announced that it had already allowed for some economic response and was willing to take the consequences. International reactions, Canada, Japan and other countries. Strong criticism was drawn from Canada on India's actions and its High Commissioner. Sanctions were also imposed by Japan on India to the consisting freezing loans or and grants except for humanitarian aid to India. Some other nations also imposed sanctions on India, primarily in the form of suspension of foreign aid to India and government to government credit lines. However, the United Kingdom, France and Russia refrained from condemning India. China on 12 May, the Chinese Foreign Ministry stated the Chinese government is seriously concerned about the nuclear test conducted by India and that the tests run counter to the current international trend and are not conducive to peace and stability in South Asia. The next day, the Chinese Foreign Ministry issued the statement clearly stating that it is shocked and strongly condemned the Indian nuclear test and called for international community to adopt a unified stand and strongly demand that India immediately stop development of nuclear weapons. China further rejected India's stated rationale of needing nuclear capabilities to counter a Chinese threat as totally unreasonable. In a meeting with Masayoshi Takimura of Democratic Party of Japan, Foreign Minister of the People's Republic of China, Qian Kichen, was quoted as saying that India's nuclear tests were a serious matter, particularly because they were conducted in light of the fact that more than 140 countries have signed the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. It is even more unacceptable that India claims to have conducted the test to counter what it called a China threat. On 24 November 1998, the Chinese embassy, New Delhi, issued a formal statement, but regrettably, India conducted a nuclear test last May, which has run against the contemporary historical trend and seriously affected peace and stability in South Asia. Pakistan also conducted nuclear tests later on. India's nuclear tests have not only led to the escalation of sanctions between India and Pakistan and propagation of nuclear arms races in South Asia, but also dealt a heavy blow to international nuclear disarmament and the global non-proliferation regime. It is only natural that India's nuclear tests have met with extensive condemnation and aroused serious concern from the international community. Chinese Embassy, New Delhi, Pakistan. Main article, India-Pakistan relations. The most vehement and strong reaction to India's nuclear explosion was from a neighboring country, Pakistan. Great ire was raised in Pakistan, which issued a severe statement blaming India for issued a several instigating a nuclear arms race in the region. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif vowed that his country would give a suitable reply to India. The day after the first test, Foreign Minister Gohar Ayub Khan indicated that Pakistan was ready to conduct a nuclear test. He stated, Pakistan is prepared to match India. We have the capability. We in Pakistan will maintain a balance with India in all fields, he said in an interview. We are in a headlong arms races on the subcontinent. On 13 May 1998, Pakistan bitterly condemned the test and Foreign Minister Gohar Ayub was quoted as saying that Indian leadership seemed to have gone berserk and was acting in a totally unrestrained way. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was much more subdued, maintaining ambiguity about whether a test would be conducted in response. We are watching the situation and we will take appropriate action with regard to our security, he said. Sharif sought to mobilize the entire Islamic world in support of Pakistan and criticize India for nuclear proliferation. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif had been under intense pressure regarding the nuclear test by President Bill Clinton and opposition leader Benazir Bhutto at home, initially surprising the world. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif authorized a nuclear testing program and the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission carried out nuclear testing under the code name Chagai 1st on 28 May 1998 and Chagai 2nd on 30 May 1998. These 6 underground nuclear tests at the Chagai and Kharan test site were conducted 15 days after India's last test. The total yield of the test was reported to be 40 kc code name Chagai 1. Pakistan's subsequent test invited similar condemnation from the United States. American President Bill Clinton was quoted as saying, "Two wrong don't make a right," criticizing Pakistan's test as reactionary to India's Pokhran 2nd. The United States and Japan reacted by imposing economic sanctions on Pakistan. According to the Pakistan Science Community, the Indian nuclear test gave an opportunity to Pakistan to conduct nuclear tests after 14 years of conducting only cold tests. Kirana 1. Pakistan's leading nuclear scientist Parvez Woodboy held India responsible for Pakistan's nuclear test experiment in Chagai. The United States issued a strong statement condemning India and promised that sanctions would follow. The American intelligence community was embarrassed as there had been a serious intelligence failure of the decade in detecting the preparation for the test. In keeping with its preferred approach to foreign policy in recent decades and in compliance with the 1994 Anti-Proliferation Law, the United States imposed economic sanctions on India. The sanctions on India consisted of cutting off all assistance to India except humanitarian aid, banning the export of certain defense material and technologies, ending American credit and credit guarantees to India, and requiring the US to oppose lending by international financial institutions to India. From 1998 to 1999, the United States held series of bilateral talks with India over the issue of India becoming party of the CTBT and NPT. In addition, the United States also made an unsuccessful attempt of holding talks regarding the rollback of India's nuclear program. India took a firm stand against the CTBT and refusing to be signatory party of it, despite under pressure by the US President Bill Clinton, and noted that the treaty as it was not consistent with India's national security interest. JN Secretization. Main article United Nations Security Council Resolution 1172. The reactions from abroad started immediately after the tests were advertised. On 6 June, the United Nations Security Council adopted Resolution 1172 condemning the test and that of Pakistan's. China issued a vociferous condemnation calling upon the international community to exert pressure on India to sign the NPT and eliminate its nuclear arsenal, with India joining the group of countries possessing nuclear weapons, a new strategic dimension.